Today is the day we're gonna start planting the spring bulbs. You're probably thinking that I'm crazy because we are in the middle, or we are in the second part of January now, and normally would have your bulbs planted roughly in November or December time once the temperatures are consistently below 10 degrees of Celsius. But because we only moved into the new house before Christmas and then everything was frozen, it's time to do it now. This is the only chance I've got, and we're gonna start doing it today. So the plan today is that we're going to remove the strip of grass along either side of the path, because I'll talk a bit more about that in the future videos. But the idea for the front garden, that it's going to be a symmetric garden, but also kind of cottagey style garden. So anyway, we're gonna have a strip of spring bulbs along either side of the path. So Fraser's now got a line running, and we've got it at 40 centimeters depth, or width. So yeah, we're gonna remove the top layer of the grass. So we're just removing the grass, we're leaving the soil. We're actually gonna see what kind of soil we've got. It's gonna be a good little nice surprise. And then once the grass is removed, we're then going to scatter our bulbs, put them in the ground, and also finally add a layer of compost as a mulch, and just to make sure that it looks nice in the meantime. So let's get to work.
Here you can see we are breaking up the strip of grass into smaller squares so it's more manageable to deal with it. And then we're using the fork just to lift the bits of grass, turn them over, and remove the excess soil. This was quite a lengthy process. It took us quite a while to get through this, but we finally made some good progress. The grass that we are removing from the front garden, we're not getting rid of it, and we're actually moving it to the back garden, where we're going to fill the raised beds that we're going to be building in the near future.
As you can see, we've made some really good progress. So we have removed the moss, really, it's not even a grass, along one side of the path. Before we crack on with the second half, what I'm going to do is actually check the bulbs that we've got, split them into 2 equal parts, mix them together, and then scatter the half of the bulbs along this side of the path, because I do want to get, obviously the daylight is quite short, still quite short in the middle of January, so I do want to get some of the bulbs planted before we finish off for the day. So let's get the bulbs sorted.
Here you can see me sorting the daffodils, tulips, alliums, crocuses, and snowdrops. I'm going to be checking them for quality and then dividing them into 2 equal parts.
As you can see, some of these allium bulbs are looking very poorly, so you can see that they're all moldy, and also when I squeeze them, they're all squishy. So I'm gonna put them in the garden waste bin, because obviously they're dead and they would just infect our soil. So yeah, they're going to the bin. So I've emptied half of my bulbs into the shopping bag, and what I'm gonna do now is actually give them a really good mix, because I want to have a variety of all these different bulbs just all mixed together that are ready to be scattered around in the border behind me. So let's give this a good shake. We now have a really good mix of all my spring bulbs stuffs are absolutely desperate to get in the ground and start growing. So let's get them in the ground. Now the fun part, all I'm gonna do is literally take a handful of bulbs and scatter them into this strip of a border that we've just created. So I've got my bulb planter and my bulbs. Whenever they landed, I'm just gonna plant them 3 times the depth of the bulb. For the smaller bulbs like the snowdrops, I am literally just pushing them in to the soil and covering them up. As you can see, we finally got the left-hand side ready, all planted up. In the process of planting up, I've discovered that we've got lots of rocks in our soil and also a lot of clay. It's not working.
We then repeated the exact same as what we've done on the other side. Fraser's got his string line out, and then we're edging and then digging up the border. And then I'm back on my knees, planting up the border with spring bulbs. As you can see, I've chosen to do a bit of a different method here. I'm not scattering the bulbs because it was quite difficult to get them in the ground because of all the stones, but luckily Fraser has loosened the soil here. I placed the bulbs evenly just to try and match the other side, and we're basically gonna have to wait until the spring to see if it all looks nice and natural.
That's it. All the bulbs are in the ground. I've planted both sides of the pathway of gorgeous spring bulbs that will hopefully start coming up soon. But before I finish off, what I'm going to do is add a good layer of mulch. Compost arrived just as I finished planting up the bulbs, which was perfect timing. So I'm gonna get the compost bags up now and start spreading the mulch.
looks amazing when you spread this black gold across your borders. Everything just looks nice and tidy and super neat. But this is not the only reason why I love mulching. It's quite clear that obviously this garden hasn't been touched ever since the house has been built over 20 years ago. So clearly the soil hasn't been improved at all. Little different worms will be pulling the nutrient, pulling the bits of organic matter into the soil, and hopefully breaking up, the layers of clay that we had as we started digging up as well. But if you've got a keen eye, you probably noticed that I actually have a couple of trays of bedding plants. I'm gonna add a little bit of color. We went to the garden center last night at around 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. just before they closed, and picked up some bedding plants because I do want a little bit of color in the front garden as we wait for the bulbs to emerge. So let's get planted. Just so we get a little pop of color as we wait for the spring bulbs to emerge. As you can see, I've placed my pansies, my plug plants, in a zigzaggy way, just to hopefully as they grow and become larger, they'll gonna fill the space a little bit more. And I've tried to copy the way I've placed the plug plants on the other side of the border as well, just because, as you remember, this is all about symmetry, and we're trying to kind of have a mirror image on either side of the path. It's quite tricky as well because obviously only a couple of my plug plants are flowering, so I can actually see what color the flowers are, so there might be a little bit of a mismatch, but where I could see the little flower buds and the color of the flower, I tried to kind of place them in a similar place, just so again we've got this mirror image of the planting on either side of the path. Now all we need to do is gently put my plug plants in the ground. I'm gonna loosen the root ball just a teeny tiny bit, and then press around the root ball and get my plants in place. You might have noticed that I haven't actually watered the bulbs or the plug plants, and the reason for that is that we've had quite a bit of rain in the last couple of days, and as you've seen, the soil has quite a lot of clay in it, so it's prone to waterlogging. So I really don't want to risk by watering anymore because the soil is just full of water anyway. And the plug plants will be absolutely fine because they felt quite moist as I was planting them in. And we've got more rain coming, so I'm leaving it all up to nature because I really don't want to risk it and rotting the bulbs. So I'm not gonna water and just, like I said, leave for the nature to deal with it. That's it. We made a start on planting up our front garden. It feels absolutely amazing to finally start digging and getting something in the ground, so it's not just a blank canvas and a massive lawn. So we removed a strip of lawn along either side of the path, put our beautiful spring bulbs in, mulched the borders, and then planted some bedding plants for a pop of color as we wait for the spring bulbs to come.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you give us a like and obviously subscribe if you haven't yet, because there's going to be so much more to come, and all we need to do now is wait for the spring bulbs to do their thing, and you'll need to stick around to find out how it looks when they start blooming. I have really high hopes, so I do hope it's going to look beautiful. And obviously over time we're going to be building on this front garden, so there's a lot more to come. And yeah, I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio!